I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 26th, brought to you by the Cattle Vac Box. It's a custom-made cooler there, just right for your vaccines that need to stay cool, place for your syringes there to keep them from getting infected, and just a neat way to keep everything organized. And I tell you what, I wish they had those back in the day, and I don't know how somebody can get along without them now, but really handy dandy deals there. Need to get you one. The bailout, people got mixed feelings about it, but I want to talk to you more about that. But first, I want to mention the passing of a patriarch of an auction family there in East Central Missouri. Luther Angel passed away over the weekend, and Luther was in the business his entire life. Tell you what, they had a buying station there in Centralia, Missouri. He owned the auction market in Columbia, Missouri, till the town kind of took it over. They moved out east to Bowling Green, Missouri. But I tell you what, he was an auction man through and through. Did it his entire life, raised his whole family up doing it, and I tell you what, he was quite a character. And for somebody to be around that long, you know, there's a tons of stories about him, and I know those of you that do know him loved him. But I read a book by one of his granddaughters, by Sierra Shea there. It's called The Wild Man, mostly true stories, a memoir of a Missouri cattleman. And enjoyed that book, and she's got some other books too about the same kind of things there, and about her grandpa and about her family. But tell you what, his place was always down there close to the ring, and then he always had something to say about every bunch of cattle, every customer that come in. He'd gig the buyers a little bit if they weren't getting in there quite as fast as he thought they should. But I was there many times there at his sales, and I remember one time he was bringing a young bull in that was good enough for somebody to keep back, and one of the buyers wasn't listening to the entire introduction, and whenever they went to try to start selling that young bull, this buyer or farmer, he stopped the sale and wanted to know, because it was trick testing was getting to be a big deal, and he wanted to know if that was a virgin bull. And Luther told him, he said, "I just told you he'd been turned out with a bunch of 2-year-old heifers. Now, if you were him, would you be a virgin?" But that's the kind of stuff he just had going on all the time. And I tell you what, I had his sons, Justin and John, right there beside him there the last many years, and they were lucky to get to work with their dad as long as they did. But I know them and the rest of their family. Their sister worked there. They're having a hard time dealing with this, and I'm going to be thinking about them early this week. But we remember Luther Angel. This bailout, there's mixed feelings about it. Now I'm talking to you about, because here this Tuesday, right today, is the first day that you can go in and get signed up for it if your FSA office. And I'm not sure about your town, whether you can go into the FSA office, or if you need to call them or get online or make an appointment, or what you need to do due to the coronavirus outbreak. But now's the time to get in and do it. And I've told you guys that it's first come, first serve. I got reminded by Jim Akers out there in Bluegrass Stockyards that not necessarily first come, first serve. They're going to pay 80% out the first round, and then come back and pick up behind so that they don't run out of money. But they've got $16 billion plus another $3 to do purchasing with this coronavirus program. But I tell you what, you need to get in there and get it done. Don't fool around. And they say if those when you go in and get signed up for it, once they get all the paperwork processed, your payments will start within a week. So that's great for the guys that surely need it. I've got a lot of other people and different mixed feelings about the deal, but some people I've talked to are going to be eligible and are not going to take it. I'm not sure what they're proving there, but if it makes them feel better, that's fine. There's some other people that are about half embarrassed to take it. There's other people that are just tickled to death, and it's going to save their farm or ranch. So, you know, there's just mixed feelings about it. But one thing about it, it's really the first bailout per se that we've had in the cattle business. Of course, we've never had anything like this coronavirus come around before. It's the most thing that was like it was last summer when we had that fire at the Holcomb plant there. We didn't get a bailout or anything there. There was some outfits that probably needed it just as bad or worse then as they did this time, but this thing was affecting a lot more people, a lot of different walks of life, so they were able to get it pushed through the legislation. But one thing we can't do anymore, we can't make fun of the row crop farmers anymore. No more jokes about their cap bill turned over real sharp so they could peek in the mailbox and see if their checks arrived. Can't do that anymore. We wish that they had used this. Of course, the government's not very good with management or planning, but if they could have thought ahead a little bit, at least on the beef side. Of course, all these different ag products are involved in this program, but at least on the livestock side, and particularly the cattle side, if they could have used that funding to subsidize some small packing plants, or something like that, or maybe even pay some of your bigger plants to get back up to mainstream full line high speed running, just anything to get going. It's kind of like the old Bible story about give a man a fish, or you can teach him to fish. I think maybe we could have used this money to teach us how to fish, to teach us how to not be so vulnerable, how to not be so close to the knife and so short on our slaughter capacity. That really would have helped. Bottom line is we've got to get more small plants going in this country, and we've got to get some more medium-sized plants. I'll tell you what, if we didn't have those regional packers up there in the Midwest, we'd been done for in this business a long time ago, but we need more of them. I think the awareness for your average consumer of where his food comes from, especially his meat, where it comes from, has probably never been as widespread as it is right now, and I think it's a good thing. And we need to loosen up the regulations a little bit and make it easier for some of these smaller locker plants and some of these little regional packers to make it easier for them to sell that product straight to the consumer. It helps with folks being able to buy locally and support their local producers, and every little bit helps too, letting us not be quite so vulnerable to these big plants whenever something like this arises. And we've had two of them here in less than 2 years, or less than 1 year, I should say, a problem where we've gotten really vulnerable here, and probably going to continue to happen. So we need to get some safeguards set up. I know some outfits that are talking about building some plants, not huge plants, but some plants that would be, fairly significant, and they could have used some funding from the government like this to get something like that. And I think in the long run it probably would have been better. But for those guys that really needed this money, or and it probably hurts your calf and feeder cattle sellers that sold in that period right there from the middle of January all the way up into April 15th is what they were calling there, and that probably hurt them more than anything, especially the guys that sold from mid-March to mid-April. And they really took it in shorts. That kind of like the knee-jerk reaction, similar to what we had when the Holcomb fire happened. But those guys really got hurt, probably worse than anybody in your livestock business. Of course, what few, and there's, we could probably count them on both hands, independent hog producers out there that didn't have some kind of a contract deal, they got hurt too. But there's a lot more cattle people that got hurt, and mostly on their calves and yearlings. The fat cattle market, ironically, didn't even get hurt that long. It backed up just a little bit there, but we were looking for it to back up anyway because we knew we had a lot of cattle on feed, so it didn't really get hurt that bad. And then whenever your packing plants come in and started trying to save face and put a good step forward there to cover up their price gouging on the dressed beef end, then it ended up being probably better than it would have been if we hadn't had the COVID-19. But you know, I was talking to a friend of mine there, and he said he'd seen some closeouts here in the last week or so on some fat cattle, you know, that were making about $150 a head, you know, and that's been awful good for the last several years, if you could ever have some cattle making that kind of money. So, you know, those guys probably could have got by without the bailout. Your hedged feeders could have got by without the bailout. Your formula guys could have got by without the bailout, and they're going to likely get $750,000 out of this deal apiece for your big corporate outfits. But for our small producers that sure did need it, and that's the bad thing. It seems like it never helps the people that need it the worst. And the people that need it the worst are your cow-calf producers. Sure, some of them sold some calves. Some of them didn't have calves ready to sell, and they're only going to get 33 bucks a head out of those. But just my thoughts on the bailout deal, and that's why I continue to support a minimum requirement of negotiated cash trade. We're on the 50-14 now as it's been introduced to Congress. I was preaching it at 30. Sure wouldn't hurt my feelings if they negotiated it down to 30. But we've got to get something done here. Your big associations, nationwide associations, are coming out against the minimum negotiated cash requirement, and they say they're aggressively searching for an industry-driven voluntary answer. Yeah, okay, yeah. Aggressively looking for a voluntary answer here. That kind of reminds me, and I know a lot of you guys are real passionate about country of origin labeling. They've got the voluntary country of origin labeling there. How's that deal working out for you? You go to the big packers. Hey, would you guys mind putting on your labeling here where this product comes from? No. Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyway. That's pretty much how any kind of a push for more negotiated trade is going to happen if we do it on a voluntary basis. Hey, what do you guys think about this? No, we don't like competition. Why would we want to compete? It raises the prices. We're not going to do that. We've got a big push now for some variation of negotiated grid pricing, but it's going to be voluntary. Well, anytime something's voluntary, there's things you know, that are passionate about on the other side. You know, they've made this animal ID deal voluntary. What's happening with it? Nothing. Because, you know, your cattle producers don't want to do it. I don't want them to have to do it either. It's ridiculous to have to do that. It's going to force a lot of our smaller producers out of the business. So, you know, whenever they can't get something pushed through, then they just say, well, we'll just make it voluntary, and then nothing ever happens. Same thing right here, guys. So if you're not about getting something mandated by the government, don't go get your check, because that's government intervention right here. Let's talk about your markets for last week. June live cattle futures. Monday was up $1.72. Tuesday up a nickel. Wednesday was down 37 cents. Thursday back up 40. And Friday down $1.10, with June live cattle futures ending the week at 97.70, up 70 cents for the week. August ended at 97.32, up 50 cents for the week. August feeder cattle, Monday was up $1.47, Tuesday off 62 cents. Wednesday was down hard, down $2.92, and it affected your feeder cattle auction markets middle of the week there. Thursday was down 12 cents, Friday down 7 cents. With August feeder cattle ending the week at 128.80, down 222. September was at 130.15, and that's the first time we've started talking about this regularly on this report. Fats through Thursday, and we've seen pretty good trade here, and I explained this last week on a couple of visits. We've had pretty good negotiated cash here the last couple of weeks, and you're wondering, why are they buying more negotiated cash? Because some of these formulas are coming back to some of those dressed beef prices likely, and the formula cattle are ending up costing these packers more. So they're always looking to buy them as cheap as they can, even if they got to go out and negotiate for them. Now, you know, we need this minimum negotiated cash, not just during this crisis deal. We need it even more when things get back to normal. But through Thursday, they already bought 61,000 head in the 5-area feeding region. The prior week it was over 100,000 nationwide. Don't think it'll be quite that big this past week, but still pretty good negotiated trade. And they're just leaving their formula contract partners hanging with big fats that have been held up, as much as 2 months, for sure a month or 6 weeks, and they're getting giant on them. They're driving right by those formula contract partners of theirs, so-called partners, and going to somebody that's got cash cattle for sale, and they're buying them right there. The negotiated grid was huge week before last, and we're going to find out here early in the week, once we get recovered from Memorial Day holiday, how big the negotiated grid was last week. But they just do it when it's to their advantage, and that's it. But your live price on solder steers and heifers, 110 to 120, still huge spreads there. That's $3 to $5 higher for the week. Dressed steers and heifers from 175 to 190, straight up $5 higher there. Friday we had more trade, and what I gave you was through Thursday. Friday we had more trade, same price levels, and it might not have been quite as whippy on Friday as it was earlier in the week. But Iowa had a couple of hundred head confirmed at 115 and 182 dressed. Nebraska 1,100 head at 115 and 175 to 180 dressed. Kansas didn't have any confirmed sales on Friday. Texas about 500 head at $110. Our slaughter, best slaughter week we've seen since early April, but 555,000 head for the week. We need to get it way over 600 to try to start catching up. But hey, we're making strides, trying to keep these workers in there and keep them safe and keep those plants moving. And we're heard that we're going to have another plant that's been closed down for a significant amount of this coronavirus period, going to be coming back online this week. So we're going to start getting back to normal, and gosh, aren't we happy? But 555,000, that's 56,000 better than the previous week, but still 92,000 less than the same week a year ago. Your cattle on feed report come out, it was neutral. Your cattle on feed, they're wild right now. I'm not sure we're learning anything by this data, but on feed inventories there, as of May the 1st, your actuals come in at just under 95%, and that's exactly what they had guessed, the average year analyst guessed. Your placements, who can keep up with that stuff? 77.7, which you think, man, that's real low. That was actually just a pinch higher than what the guesses were, but not enough to be bearish at all. It was very, very neutral report. Marketings were down hard, and we knew they were going to be down hard. 75.7% of the same report a year ago, but that was a little bit better, 1% better than what your average year analyst guess was. So the cattle and feed report, very, very neutral there. Your corn planting has been going fast. Corn and beans, I'll tell you what, it's never been better weather, and they're starting to worry a little bit about being dry in some places up there, especially in the northern plains, but a lot better than last year when they were trying to get it done underwater. But 80% complete on corn planting already. That's 14% better than improved over last week, and 9% better than the 5-year average for the date. So pretty darn good. Box beef cutout values, your packers are really wanting to hold them around $4 a pound. I know they were gouging as high as $4.75 or better on choice cuts there, but they've backed off in a big hurry here. But the last few days of this past week, it appeared that they're wanting to try to hold things right around $4 a pound. Well, if they want to continue to charge people that kind of money for dressed beef, they're going to have to come across with some more money for these cattle producers, guys. And that's our big, big problem. Everybody's going in getting a bailout here early in the week, and they're going to be getting a check within a week, and pissing and moaning and crying about the market. Our problem is we're just not getting a big enough percentage of that dressed beef price. And I think if we will allow our finished cattle sellers to negotiate their way into a bigger piece of that pie, I think they're the ones that can do it. If they talk to some guys like old Luther Angel that just passed over the last week, get some guys in there that got some negotiating skills. because I'm not sure all of our feedlot managers and our finished cattle sellers have negotiating skills anymore, because some of them don't even want to do it. Too lazy to have to fret until Friday every week and work on selling their cattle as high as they can. A lot of them don't do it. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I used to call on all those feedlots, I'll tell you what, they took a lot of pride in their weekly negotiations, and I wish we had more guys doing that. But your weighted average on last week's box beef trade on choice cuts, 405.40. Like I said, they're trying to keep it around $4 a pound there, but that was down $53.64 from the weighted average the previous week. Selects 386.33. That was 53.20 lower. But on your Friday, the last trade that you had, a daily trade, we did have your choice cuts just under $4 a pound at 396.74 and selects at 374.18. But your choice select spread on your weighted average on all of last week's trade was just over $19 and 690 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. So pretty good movement there as we start our grilling season full bore. Look at your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Monday, or actually for the ending the week there. Just had one or two sales on Monday, didn't change it a whole lot, but ended the week last week at 126.86. That was up just about $1 from the end of the previous week. And if you look at your auction sales, they ended the week through your auctions, your cash market steadied to $2 higher. We did have some midweek pressure due to the board being down so hard. Like I told you, feeder cattle futures were down almost $3 midweek, and it did pressure some of your midweek sales. But if you look at your late week sales, they were steady to a couple bucks better than they were the previous week. The big sale on Monday had a special there. Russell, Iowa, Russell Livestock, 6,200 head on your holiday Monday there. And look at these loads of steers that I pulled out to look at through Cattle Market Central there. You look and see, and all of them are selling pretty well there. Really good indicator of what the market is up there in the Midwest. There were some additional sales on lighter ones, and I want to give you a couple of stickouts there. But your heavy steers were about $3 lower, as called by your market reporter there. Calves $2 to $6 higher, and some of your Pee Wee steer calves as much as $15 higher. And you can see that with a couple of these quotes I'm going to tell you about. 51 steers weighed 636 and $163, and 101 490-pound little light steer calves bring $174.50. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.